Hello. Wow, we got a couple people in here already. That's awesome. Okay, I just got to get some stuff going on my YouTube so I can read your comments and stuff like that. I want to thank you all for joining us so far tonight. Got two people in the chat, so this is good. Let's see what we can get up with here. There we go. I'm sideways. Let's try this. Hey, Anthemus, what's going on? There we go. Sorry about the camera angle. I can't fix it without coming off this live and starting another one. So I'm just gonna keep shit simple tonight, and we're gonna roll like this. All right. So let me get a little bit of whiskey going on here. Whiskey on the rocks. Yes. One of my favorites. So what's going on? Let's see what's up in the chats tonight. Raymond, thank you. Yeah, I plan on it, dude. I still have a lot of stuff to talk about. Next week, I think on my mental health minute, I'll be talking about how I started to deal with my PTSD when I was overseas, because it really that's when it first started hitting. I noticed, anyways, when I was overseas. So we'll talk about that on our mental health minute. And story time. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do for story time next week, but we'll make it fun and interesting, that's for sure. Hey, Renee, glad you could join us. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's delicious. I need some more of that. Hey, Cricket, thank you. Thank you. Rojo or Rojo? Yeah, man. No worries. Everybody can just kind of... no worries, Renee. I just started up now. I just got things going, so... Got so much ice going on in my drink, I can't even get the whiskey to mix in it now. I got to dunk my grubby little finger in there. There we go. Hope my dog isn't yelling too much for you. Jeremy Dewitt, yeah, that's why I wanted to, one of the reasons why I wanted to live tonight, because he got arrested recently. I believe it was last week. He got busted for domestic violence. And he's still out on, like, he's got 3 or 4 bonds on him right now. But he was arrested for domestic violence. They cut him loose on the domestic, and they didn't call any of the bonds in. So he is out at large again, up to his same old shenanigans. There is rumor about him popping up on a Dr. Phil episode, apparently, in the near future. Sometime by mid-December, I think he's supposed to be up on Dr. Phil. And now there is also talk as well. I don't know, like he spent a lot of time in prison, actually. Like, I think his longest stint was like 4 years or something like that. Oh, Anthemus. Now we're talking. So I did the show on Jeremy Dewitt. All right. And out of there, I've collected some really unique haters. Like, there are some people that really like Jeremy Dewitt for some reason. He's a child molester, an alleged wife beater. He pretends to be a cop, pretends to be a veteran, pretends to be a paramedic, all this kind of shit. But out of that show, I got a number of haters. And one of them was Tonto or Tainto Goldstein, and he was claiming to be me. Now, I haven't heard of this guy since, or from him since I posted a video about him accusing me of stolen valor. So I don't assume that we'll hear from him anymore again, although I did get a downvote on this video already, it looks like. So I wonder if that's maybe old Tainto. Taint balls, taint ass, he's that skin in between. But yeah, so he's still out, and I don't know how the guy manages to do it. Oh, yeah, no, Anthemus. But I think that it's Dewitte who is accusing me of the stolen valor. I think he was trying to discredit me in some way or negatively affect my channel. Raymond, yeah, me too. I've been down it quite a bit with him. In terms of, like I've researched his court documents as much as I could find online, his arrest paperwork, and I've tried to listen to some of his interviews that he's sort of done with police and other sort of random people, because as a forensic interviewer and as somebody who's qualified in statement analysis, I really want to sort of dig into this guy a little more, just for my own sort of sick, morbid curiosity. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's definitely an interesting friggin' dude. And I don't think he's going to walk away from these 3 charges he's got right now for impersonating a police officer. I think he's going to go down for it. They're talking, the DA or whatever is talking about giving him like a 30-month sentence and dissolving his business, which that would be awesome. But knowing Dewitte, he'll probably pop back up with something else. He'll come up with some new scheme to do when he gets out of jail. I don't think so. I think that I think Dewitte is like borderline psycho or sociopath. The problem is that there's not much known about his early life, so it's very difficult to tell. Oh yeah, he's totally stolen valor, and he's a complete fraud. You know, the only like he really steps on the radar when he's about 18 years old, and he goes, Dan, what's going on, brother? Danimal, hackad. Yeah, so his first arrest came when he was 18. So in 1998, he was arrested for trying to steal gas from a mobile gas station in Florida. Yeah, and he was also robbing gas at the same time. It must be to support the high-speed, low-drag funeral escorts in Iraq that he was doing. Because I imagine doing a funeral escort in Iraq is that's pretty high risk. But yeah, so he got arrested when he was 18 for stealing like $14 from a mobile gas station. He gets the gas. He goes to the attendant, can't pay for it. So he's a police cadet at the time, and a police explorer is what they call them. And so he tries to convince the attendant at the gas station that, he's good for it. He's a cop, and that, either comp him the gas or he'll come back and pay it the next day. Well, he never shows up. He gets arrested for it. And this is at the point where his dad is quoted as saying, you said that there wouldn't be any more. So it leads a number of people, like a number of us who follow Jeremy Dewitte, to believe that he was probably up to shenanigans before he was 18. That's just the first time he got caught. Now, he goes around and loves to tell people that his brother is dead. Well, his brother isn't dead. In fact, the two cohabitated, and they lived with the victim, who Jeremy was arrested and convicted of for sexual assault. He lived with the child. She was 15 years old. He loves to tell everybody. How did I not go on an epic rant? We'll talk about that one in a minute. I haven't heard the victim's statement yet, but I have been doing my digging and found some stuff out. Anyways, he was, as it goes, he was pretending to be a like a veteran running some kind of like youth program, some kind of youth boot camp or something, it seemed like. And so that's how he sort of came to know and live with this young teen. She was 15. And so he raped her. He used to make her do PT or physical training because he said she was fat. He put her all through all kinds of mental and physical abuse and sexual abuse. I mean, as much as Dimwit is entertaining to us, the guy is just a total freak show. And an absolute child molester, you know. And the funny thing is that he'll start off conversation. Oh, Miss Kent, welcome to the show. Thanks for showing up. So, you know, he likes to introduce himself as a sex offender to people. Like he has no problem telling people this. But then he gets charged and convicted for failing to sign up on the registry itself. Can't see you and the cat. What cat? Oh, in the chat. I tried to get my camera to yeah, I love mine on the rocks. I tried to get my camera. Wow, Western Australia. Awesome. Okay, settle down, Miss Kent. Settle down, all right? Settle down. Oh, now look what you made me do. Had everything set up and now you ruined it all. Man, this is as bad as like my lights going out when I was in the garage. We're in my tattoo studio tonight. And I'm trying to make this happen, but some people are picky. YouTube professionals. Shit. You could be a cop, you're so good at ruining lives, Miss Kent. Now, yeah, how I didn't explode on the guy who was accusing me of stolen valor. Tainto Goldstein is the guy's name. Now, I really think that this guy needs help, but I think he's part of the Dewitte team. But you know, when you use stolen valor to accuse somebody of stolen valor, that tells me that you got some serious issues. And I really wanted to just shoot the shit with this guy and maybe convince him to take the medicine that the nice nurse is telling him to take, because clearly he's got some issues. Like, I mean, I'm farming nuts over here. I'm certified, but that guy is just one step beyond. All right, so the guy who accuses me of stolen valor. So I put out the Dewitte video, and it's my best video yet. Like, it's got like 20,000 hits, which is pretty good for my channel. I don't normally do that well. Now on TikTok, it's a different ballgame, but here on YouTube, I don't normally get that many hits. Yeah, so this guy comes into the comment section and tells me that he is actually me. He says that in the pictures that I use in my YouTube content of me, whether it be me as a cop or, you know, in the armored or infantry, in the Canadian military, deployed in Afghanistan or Yugoslavia, he says it's him. He says that he took some of the pictures, he's in some of the pictures. He said one of them is like an award-winning picture from his collection, and it was a picture he took back in Fort Sill in 2004. So I invite this guy on my show this Monday. He never shows up. He says 9 o'clock I'll be there, and I'm bringing a lawyer with me. Well, he doesn't show up, and neither does his shit pump lawyer. So yeah, I don't know. I really think it's DeWitt related, anyways, and I think it's the same person who voted this friggin' this live chat down. I didn't even start the thing, and it was already thumbed down. No, I don't think so. I mean, it's like morbid curiosity. It's like looking at a car accident when How do I know I'm not that guy? That's what I'd like to know. But anyways, yeah, no, we're not crazy for looking at weirdos like this. And further, I think Dimwit is, you thumb me down, Miss Kent. Why am I not surprised? But the thing with Dimwit is that he's an actual danger. Yeah, Renee, that one actually got a lot of traffic on my Facebook and stuff, and it actually kind of brought me close to the Micmac community here. They sent me out a support shirt and stuff like that. But back to Dimwit there, I think he is totally. I know, back under your bridge there, Miss Kent. He is 100% a danger to people, and I think the more people out there that put information about him out there, I think the better aware people are about him, and I hope that people stop taking his shit, because he tries to pull people over on the road. Even when he's not doing escorts, he'll try and pull people over. He tries to pull fights. He's even got this Glock. It's like a paintball gun, but it shoots pepper spray pellets, and he rolls around with that. He's got a baton. So I mean, I'm not surprised that people don't absolutely want to mess with him. But I think it's going to happen sooner or later. Dimwit is just going to take a turd on somebody who isn't going to let him get shit on, or isn't going to let themselves be shit on, and I think they're gonna take him out. I don't know. I think people have been saying that they want to call them Jeremys, um, the Karens of the male world. They want to call them Jeremys because of Jeremy Dewitt. Um, but yeah, Dimwit is just an idiot. See, like, because he's a felon, I don't think he can actually own a legit firearm. Because I think that if he could own a firearm, the guy would. He would be rolling around with a 9 millimeter at least, guaranteed. And he'd probably have some kind of rocket launcher strapped to the back of his motorcycle, too. Yeah, see, I don't get it either, but the problem is that with people like that, like, he throws out all these stories, right? About like, oh, the court said this, or Officer Bloggin said that. White privilege, totally. um, and so I'm sure that he gets pulled over a lot more frequently, but he just puts out enough bullshit to make people sort of second guess what they're doing. If you watch the video I did on him, I had the real world police clip of him in Chicago throwing chairs at people from a sixth floor balcony. And so when the cops roll up on him, he's giving them all this story, oh, I'm a state certified agent, and they ask him if he's a cop. He says he's a cop. So they're cutting him all this slack, which they shouldn't really be doing in the first place, right? But I think that's how he gets away with it. But he has done, he's done some time. Like I said, his longest stint was like 4 years. And I can't remember what that was for. It may have been for the sexual assault or the child molestation. But yeah, so he's an interesting fellow. If anything epic comes up with him again, I'll definitely post again about him. But I want to try and steer away from, becoming too DeWitt focused. I've seen a lot of channels that have posted about him that were smaller channels like mine, and they just cannot stop posting about the guy. And like there are channels that are about like motorcycles and other stuff, but then there's like 90 friggin' dimwit videos, and I like to keep my channel open for I like to talk a lot about the mental health stuff, PTSD. I just dropped a kind of tattoo montage tonight. I like to do that stuff. Yeah, I'm Raymond. I'm actually going to do one on Russell Williams. Now, I had nothing to do with that case, but I do know the forensic psychiatrist who sort of profiled him. I had the same forensic psychiatrist profile a child predator for me. So I knew some of the people who worked the Williams case, but it's definitely one I want to talk about because it's so odd. Um, I wasn't in Serbia in the 90s, if you're asking me. Yeah, Shepard. Definitely narcissistic. But that kind of rolls part and parcel. Like I said, like I think he's very borderline psychopathy or sociopathy. There, he definitely. He has no empathy, no sympathy, no understanding of consequence, and I think that any sort of emotion or anything that he displays that isn't like rage is pretty much made up. Like when it comes to psychopaths, sociopaths. It's like they have this mask that they wear, and it hides them from what or it hides the world from what's really them. And in order to sort of maintain that facade, they act like how they see other people acting. So it's not necessarily that they actually feel those emotions. I don't know. Like Dimwit never seems to have like he's never alone. He's always got somebody that he's claiming as his wife. Like in the video in Chicago, that is not his wife. The woman in Chicago with him is not his wife, but he introduces her as his wife. So I don't know. Maybe they have an open relationship or something like that. But definitely the guy is getting around. I mean, he's laying some pipe. But the funny thing about his wife is that she is from Egypt, and I think he married her in order to sort of bolster this idea. Because one of his other things, it's not quite stolen valor, but he says he was a private military contractor out in the Middle East, and so I think that he kind of claims his wife from Egypt to help bolster that bullshit story of his that he was PMC or a private military contractor. And again, that pisses me off because I've worked with PMCs in Afghanistan. I've spent time at Blackwater. And if you don't know what Blackwater is, it's a very sort of infamous PMC or mercenary group out of the U.S. I mean, they were in Iraq. They showed up in the floods in New Orleans, Afghanistan, all kinds of stuff. And sometimes they're not always in the most painted in the most colorful of light, you could say. So what else is going on? Anybody got any more questions about Dimwit? Anybody have any questions about the true crime story we dropped this week about James Wilks, the Canadian military's most prolific sexual predator, and just the creepiest, filthiest little man I've ever met in my life? Like, I wanted to have a shower like I was in the Crying Game after I interrogated the guy. It was just brutal. Um, Raymond, that's a good question. And no, as a, generally speaking, I wouldn't recommend joining the forces to people. It takes a certain type of person. Like in Canada, something like less than 2% of our population is currently serving or has ever served in our military in its history. And so it's definitely, there's a certain mentality, a certain person that I think would do well in the military. But as a general rule, no, I tell people don't join. Unless I really see something in them that I think that they have to offer. So what else is going on? I don't know how much longer we're going to stay in here. Maybe another 5-10 minutes. Wifey is sick, and the kids are still up running around. They're probably going to burn and break shit. It takes. You have to be a very patient person to survive in the military. No, I wasn't an officer. I was a non-commissioned member. I retired as a master corporal in the Canadian military, which is like a sergeant in the U.S. military. I skipped your question. Okay, let me go back here because Miss Kent has asked a question. Why the fuck can't you come to Canada? Well, see, America is like a petri dish right now. And so we're trying to, keep the Rona out. That's sort of the goal, and that's why you can't come right now. Felon or not. No, I'm retired, Shepard. I retired from the military, from law enforcement, 6 years ago. So since retiring, I've been out and looking after my brood of kids. I got 3 kids, small, medium, and large, all girls, and I run my tattoo studio. See, I'm pretty sure that felons can get in here. It takes it's a long story, but the thing is that border services do not have access to everybody's criminal records. So there's a good chance that you probably won't be flagged on a system, and you could probably get in. Now, if they ask you, they're probably going to check on Interpol, and then they'll find you. But if you just happen to slip through the cracks, it happens. I flew back to Canada all the way from Afghanistan on a canceled passport. So, and that's civilian flights. That's not military. So I went through like 3 or 4 different countries, all on a canceled passport, and nobody stopped me. So that tells you, and this was 2010, so 10 years ago. Who are we talking about? Was it Russell Williams? The Russell Williams was an Air Force, Canadian Air Force officer, and he was arrested. He's a serial killer. And he got arrested around 2009, 2010 timeline. He murdered 2 female air crew. But this guy was crazy too. Like he flew the Queen around. Like he knew the Queen. He was a pretty high-ranking, highfalutin guy in the Canadian Air Force. And he got pinched. He got arrested. He didn't last too long out on his murder sprees. But before he actually got into the killings, what he was doing was that he was breaking into women's houses and he was stealing their lingerie, their underwear, and he would dress up in their underwear, in their undergarments. Yeah, he did. He dressed in their clothes, and then he took pictures of it. And they're all over the internet right now, and we'll talk about it on my show a little more probably this week. But yeah, Russell Williams, he was a total creep. But the military really didn't have anything to do with that investigation because both the people he killed and all the break and enters that he was doing was off base. It wasn't on the base in Trenton itself. So it fell to the Ontario Provincial Police, and they handled the investigation. But like I said, I worked with the forensic psychiatrist who profiled him, and I had that same forensic psychiatrist profile a child molester and a child pornographer that I had spent like 7 months tracking down. And he is the guy that got away. Every cop has got somebody who got away, and that's the guy who got away from me. Woo! Whew. Woo! Oh man, that was a tough one. Ugh. But yeah, and then this week we talked about James Wilks. Now that guy had like dozens of victims, and all for he convinced all these women that he was giving them exams to enter the military, and he was really just sexually assaulting them. It was pretty disgusting. Yeah, there are definitely more predators in the forces. When I think I was in major crimes at the time, and there was a guy in CFB Petawawa, which is kind of central Ontario, I guess. It's near Ottawa. And he had abducted two women, I believe. So yeah, there are definitely more predators in the military. Um, and it's not that there are more predators in the military than there are in the civilian world, but there are definitely predators in the military. I think that the lifestyle we live and the things that we do draws some people who are like that because it can afford them the opportunity to do what they want to do and teach them how to do it better. Well, let's try to keep the political chat down to a dull roar. I mean, you talk about what you want to, but I try to keep political shit off my channel as much as possible. I do a lot, like on my TikTok, excuse me, on my TikTok channel, I do tons of political stuff. I'm running for a member of parliament here in Canada in my riding. And so I'm very down to the ground on politics and stuff like that. But I just try not to talk too much about politics on my channel here. No worries, Braden, no worries. Raymond, I think that in the military, you're always going to have these generations of soldiers that are going to say to the next guy coming up, oh, you guys got it so easy. Back when I was serving, when I joined, things were really starting to change in the forces. That sort of Full Metal Jacket style of running courses and leadership was changing in the military, and they were really starting to become aware of things like racism, sexism, shit like that. So it's not so much that it's gone soft because, I mean, you look at how effective we were in Afghanistan, how effective we were in Iraq against ISIS, and I don't think that we're getting soft at all. My TikTok is just at Tested Metal. That's TESTEDMETTLE. If you go into some of my videos, I do have a couple TikTok videos posted on here, and you should be able to get my username off of that for TikTok. But yeah, I talk a lot about Canadian politics on TikTok. You know, Canada has a really brutal history of dealing with our Indigenous people here, and so I've taken to TikTok to really speak out about that. I've talked about it briefly on my channel here, and I've had a Black Panther on my channel here. We do talk about politics, but it's not where I want things to lay. You know what I mean? This is a place where I want people to feel comfortable, chill, and where they can get help if they need it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's just keep it chill in the chats, please, people. Quadrax, right out from Ireland. Cool, man. Spellin', hey, butter. Haven't seen you in a while. But yeah, definitely. If you're interested about my politics, where I stand with things, check out my TikToks because I don't hide it. I'm very open about my politics there. Sorry, I'm just reading comments. Okay, I'm not drifting off into space here. All right. Yeah, things have definitely changed. Things are changing, and it's part of life. Things are never going to be constant. I talk about it in terms of mental health on here, but you have, something called homeostasis. So it's basically the idea that everything is in flux from high to low, and you have that sort of median or that average between the highs and the lows. And so nothing is constant. Everything is going to be in flux. Your mental health is going to be like that. You're going to have your high days. You're going to have your low days. Think about it in terms of being cold or hot. You get really hot, you sweat, so you start getting cold. Then you get too cold and you start shivering. You bring your body temperature back up. So that's homeostasis. And so things, like I said, are always going to be in flux. We can't avoid change. All we can do is just sort of try to deal with it and make the best of our situations, But I think we're going to cut her down here. I think we're going to shut down the live chat. I really should have a check-in on my kids and make sure that my wife is doing well. Hopefully it's not the Rona, but she's a hurting unit right now. So listen, I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up tonight. Thanks for participating in the chats. And stay tuned in. I'll try to drop a couple videos every week. This week, like I said, we're going to talk about Russell Williams, the Canadian military serial killer. We'll talk about how I dealt with my PTSD in Afghanistan, what I was doing to sort of not just deal with and cope with my PTSD, but to hide it from everybody else around me, so that I wouldn't get sent home from my deployments, so that I could stay working overseas. So we'll talk about that. I do want to, Peterborough, my man. Yeah, I got some friends from out there. Hastings and Perth Regiment, Hasty Peas. They got those pretty red hats. We'll be talking about, I want to do some more music stuff, but I think we're going to look at maybe some punk rock or some streetcore, something good anyways, a little more energetic. But once again, thank you all for showing up. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for the upvotes. I want you all to stay up, stay strong, enjoy your weekend, and look out for each other, people, because we're all we got. Peace.